from Port Melbourne here. Today I'm going to run you through a 20-minute core workout. So today we're going to first of all start up in standing. Really great lower level exercise to do. What we're going to be doing is a wall push-up. So all you need is a little bit of wall space. We're going to come up onto your tippy toes or flat onto your feet. And then your hands are going to be about shoulder width or a bit further apart, and you're on your palms. And you're going to be dropping down, bending the elbows, sending them on a bit of a diagonal angle, so not straight out to the side and not straight into the side of your torso. And then you're just going to be pressing up and down. And your core is actually going to be working through the entire time to help stabilize your position. So I want you to think gentle drawing of belly button and a gentle tuck of your tailbone under. And we're going to be doing 3, 2, and 1. Now feel free to add extra repetitions. You can even use a timer instead and aim for 30 seconds if the amount that I do today is a little bit too easy. So next up, we're going to get you to lie onto your back. We're going to place your hands onto the hips and imagine that your hips are a bucket and you have water in that bucket. So what we're going to do is slush the water to the front of the bucket and to the back of the bucket. And this is what we call pelvic tilting. Or you can think about it that you're making a little bit of space underneath your lower back and then you're squishing that space. So very important movement in order to get lots of movement all throughout your spine and pelvis, and in order to find your neutral spine, which is about halfway in between. I've got you to make a diamond with your fingers. Place your pointing fingers onto your pubic bone, the bone around the front of your hips, and then your thumbs up onto your belly button. And from here, let's keep on doing those pelvic rocks. I want you to take a look down and try and find the point where your diamond is just nice and flat, that's not tilted one way or another way. And you might find that you've actually got a little bit of space underneath your lower back, and if this is comfortable for you to do so, this is a really great position in order to engage your core really well. So from here, maintaining that space, and what we're going to be doing is an exercise called abdo prep, okay? So we're going to get you to place one hand behind your head or both hands by your side, and you're going to tuck your head towards your chest, hover, reach those hands towards your toes, and then you're going to be lowering back down. Breathing in, prepare, engaging your core, breathing out, head to chest, reaching towards your toes, and then lowering back down. Now when you're doing this movement, I'd like you to think of it as a fold, head to chest, and you're really folding your rib cage down and relaxing. And continuing on as aim for 8 repetitions of this one. With your neck, make sure that your head is just following your core. So your tummy is doing all the work and you're just doing that fold head to chest. Really think of your head position, that you're lengthening nice and tall away, like somebody is pulling you nice and tall from your head. Making sure that you're not overdoing it through the neck. So you can place your hand just like so behind the top of your neck, very gently supporting your spine there. The next variation of this is getting your oblique muscles a bit more. So what you can do is breathe in, prepare, pre-engage your abdominal muscles, so think draw belly button in very gently. And then you're going to breathe out, fold your top corner of the rib cage down to your opposite hip bone and back down. So this is a diagonal line. Your tummy muscles are doing all the work and your head and shoulders are just following. Breathing out, lifting up, breathing in to lower back down. And we have 3, 2, 1. And changing sides. One arm is, the lowered arm is reaching towards your toes, just hovering off the ground. Going to breathe in, prepare. Gently draw belly button in. Breathe out, folding top rib cage, top right rib cage, down to your bottom left rib cage. So imagine that your tummy is a piece of paper, and you're going to fold the top right hand corner of the piece of paper down onto the left corner of that piece of paper. So continuing on, we're going to be aiming for 8 with this one. Breathing out, lift. Always trying to breathe out on the hardest part of the movement. And we have 3, 2, 1. Great work, guys. Our next exercise is the scissor series. So what we're going to do is lift what we call a leg into this position, which is tabletop. So you're going to maintain that space underneath your pelvis, just like all of the rest. And what you're going to do is start with level 1. So you're going to prepare before you lift that leg. Breathe out, lift the leg. Breathe in to lower. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. And in. So if you find this is a really good level for you, continue on at this level. The option to advance into your level 2 is lifting both legs up into your tabletop position. From here, make sure you've still got that little bit of space underneath your lower back, and your rib cage is sinking down into the ground. Nice and relaxed rib cage down. From here, arms either side, breathing in, prepare. Breathing out, dropping one leg down to tap the floor, and raising back up into tabletop, and just alternating from side to side, trying to keep your torso and lower back still, and breathing out and in on this motion. The breathing's really good as it helps you to slow down as well, and exercises you can perform much more efficiently when you're nice and slow. So this is scissor level 2. The level 3 version is starting with one leg tapping onto the mat, and from here you're just going to float and change mid-air. So this is slightly faster, a little bit harder to control, and is your level 3 version of this scissor exercise. Again, maintaining that same position, breathing out, in, in. While we're breathing, try and breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Now, I'm sure you're completely finished with that first exercise, so let's move on into our next progression. So what we're going to do next is float our legs up into that tabletop position again, and we're going to do what's called hip twist. So what you're going to need to do is let one leg slightly float out to the side and then return to center. We can continue on the same side until you get the hang of it, and really focus on not being able to see your foot on that floating leg side. So if you're looking down, all you can see is your knee, and that other knee is staying completely still. So this is working your adductors as well as the core, and really challenging that rotation stability of your core. Let's now commence on the other side, really focusing on maintaining that neutral spine, keeping those hips still. Now at any time you need any extra support, You can always place a pillow underneath your head to give your neck that little bit of extra comfort. Or you can always put a cushion underneath your tailbone as well. So on the bottom half of your bottom, and that can really give you that little bit of extra support as well. Let's keep on going for 3, 2, and 1, lowering down. We're now going to do an exercise called the hundreds. So thinking about that abdo prep just as before, you're going to lift your head towards your chest and then float the arms off the ground. From here, you're going to pulse those arms up and down into very, very little movements. So imagine there's water underneath your hands and just very lightly tapping the water. So just making tiny little ripples instead of making splashes in the water. Maintain that position underneath your lower back, and if you need, you can place one hand behind your neck in order to support your neck while you continue on. Now in time with the pulses, you're going to breathe in 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, in 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4. And this is going to challenge your abdominal control and your shoulder control. Reaching towards those toes, breathing in 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4. We're going to continue on for 2 more breaths. And out 2, 3, 4. Let's change hands and complete 5 repetitions on this side. Out 2, 3, 4. In 2, 3, 4. Out 2, 3, 4. In 2, 3, 4. Out 2, 3, 4. And relaxing that head down. Now if that was a little bit easy for you, there's an option to lift just one leg into tabletop. You can go into the 100 series like that, just pulsing the hands up and down with one leg into tabletop. The next level is lifting both legs up into tabletop, and you've always got the option to have that head lifted or not as well. And that'll really challenge your core stability and strength. Again, reaching away from the arms, nice and long arms, and pulsing in 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4. So feel free to continue this one for 5, 4, 2, 3, 2, and 1. Relaxing those legs down. I'll get you to place your ankles and knees together, and it's really lovely to give your lower back a little bit of a release, because sometimes you can build tension down into your lower back when you're doing this exercise. So what you can do is just keep those feet and knees together and just rotating from side to side, trying to keep both hands still onto the ground and trying to encourage the opposite rib cage to what's reaching down as close to the mat as you can. Let's return those legs back to center, and what we can do now, I cannot see. So we've done all of the core exercises lying onto your back. Our next position is onto your hands and knees. So I get you to twist over, have your hands directly under your shoulders and your knees directly underneath your hips. From here, we're going to do an exercise called the cat camel. And this is a really lovely exercise to mobilize the spine and also to find that neutral spine that I mentioned earlier, of when your core will work at its best. So really sinking down, looking up, really trying to get as much of a curve into your spine as you can while going both directions. On your next one, I'm going to get you to return to center, and I'll get you to try and maintain this position for the next part of the series. So from here we can do your exercise called bird dog. Now, an easiest version is just to raise your arms forwards. Focus on your head position, maintaining a gentle tuck of the chin. Imagine that you've got a peach underneath your chin that you're holding onto, and you're reaching your head, lengthening away towards the TV. So that is the first option. The second option is to do solely the leg and reaching away. And it'd be helpful if the couch wasn't there. So the third option is to reach both at the same time. Now the key with this exercise is thinking about your lower back positioning. So ensure that you are not rounding or arching and you're maintaining that neutral position. Checking in with your hips and making sure that they're not rotating or twisting up to the ceiling as well. So what you can do is imagine that your hips have torchlights and they're shining forwards down to the ground. Try and ensure that they're always shining towards the ground and aren't twisting up like so as you're reaching that leg away. So although you'll notice your shoulder and arms working quite a lot for this exercise, this is a very important core exercise to strengthen our ability to have a nice sturdy base all through our trunk. Breathing out, reaching away, maintaining that spinal position. And last of all, with the arms, ensure that it's a reach away, and the legs, that it's a lengthening, a sense of lengthening, rather than thinking of them as a lift away. From here, we're going to progress up to our next level of the core. So we'll get you to tuck your toes under, and we're going to go into an exercise called the knee hover, or the leg pull in prone. So what that is that you're actually doing a bit of an abdominal exercise with the knees hovering just an inch off the ground. So really make sure that you're pressing your arms away. You're trying to push your mid back up to the ceiling, and you're not letting yourself really round at the hips. And then otherwise you'll be aware of your quads working if you're really rounding. Okay, so maintain that position. So you can do little lifts up and down, breathing out as you raise, breathing into lower. You can try and aim for 5 to 8 of these. An option to advance is to hold that position and hold. Hopefully my head position looks good there. So you're lengthening from the crown of the head. You're imagining that you're tucking your chin around that peach. Again, maybe a bit smaller. Got an apricot there. And going into that hovering. That's it. Now, if that was a bit uncomfortable for your wrists, there is another exercise that you can do down onto your forearms instead. And we call this the knee plank. So move your knees away, further back. You want your elbows directly under your shoulders and hips forwards. And you're going to tuck your bottom under. Really make sure that you're not in this bent up position like so, and that you can really bring those hips forwards, tuck that bottom under, and you want to be nice and straight from the knees to the shoulders. So you'll start to feel your abdominals engaging. So what you can do is just move in and out of this movement, or just hold for 5 to 30 seconds at a time. Making sure that you're breathing all the time. Pressing those forearms into the mat, trying to press your mid back up to the ceiling, and you're maintaining this position. Let's go for another 15 seconds. Keep on reminding yourself to press those elbows away. And we'll go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. So that concludes the mini core workout. You can stretch this out for as long as you like. Lots of different exercises there. To make it a little bit more challenging, aim to do each one for a series of 30 seconds. Just put a important. Put a timer on, and then it can give you a little bit of a bell each time you reach that 30 seconds. Is a great way to get a really good core workout.